Since Pletcher took over, he's raced 4 times. He's won 3 of those races. The only time he lost, he hooked up with the top handicap horse in the country, Game On Dude. Percussion's fast. Look for him to be out in front with John Velasquez. The question is the distance. He's never been past a 1 1/8. Today, the grueling 1.5 miles. Let's check in with Kenny Rice.
Thanks, Mike. Not many in this field have tried a 1.5 miles, only 3. Well, actually, there's 4. But Kaleidoscopio is in a class by himself. 25 times he has run at a 1.25 miles or more. The majority of those races actually at a distance longer than a 1.25 miles. So for this 10-year-old from Argentina who seems to be getting better with age, a 1.25 miles today is just another day at the races. Let's go to Lafitte Pinkai.
Kenny, Kaleidoscopio may have run the biggest race for marathoners in the country, but Bird Run has already run this race, the 2011 Brooklyn Handicap. He absolutely rolled, winning by 3 at the wire. And he did try to defend his title the following year. Things didn't go to plan. Bird Run stumbling badly, leaving the starting gate. He lost all chance. In fact, his jockey, Rajiv Mirage, fortunate just to stay in the saddle, he lost his stirrup. The bad news, Bird Run has not won since that 2011 Brooklyn. The good news, he's still trained by Hall of Famer Belmont, and he'll be ridden by Belmont's leading rider, Junior Alvarado. Let's say hello to Donna Brothers.
Well, Lafitte, when Bird Run won that race in 2011, it was on a fast track. Not the case today. Today we have a sloppy racetrack, but they've got it sealed down, which means that they've gone over it with rollers and packed it down. And throughout the card today, it's been very fair from the outside down to the inside. But I have to say, experience tells me that horses just don't like to get a whole lot of this stuff in their face for a long time. So over these longer distances, it typically favors the horses who want to lay closer, Tom.
All right, I wouldn't want any of that either. As we see horses on the track here, those the Ken Ramsey Silks, as we're going to bring you some bonus coverage. The Jaipur Stakes. Now, because of all the rain, it's been taken off the turf onto the main track. It would chew up the grass too much. And so only 5 horses will be running in the Jaipur Stakes. And as you see, the heavy favorite is Reload. Reload at 6-5 is the choice for the Jaipur. And we'll have that for you when we return to Belmont Park.
Playing football can be really tough on your skin. To avoid unnecessary roughness, we use Palmer's Cocoa Butter Formula Body and Face Lotion for Men. It offers hard-hitting protection that locks in moisture and shuts down dryness. Palmer's provides the ultimate defense against rough, dry skin, leaving it smooth with a fresh scent.
Palmer's Cocoa Butter Formula Body and Face Lotion for Men. Perfect formula.
Extraordinary results.
Try Palmer's new jar for men. It provides serious moisture for the hands, elbows, and knees.
Hi, my name is Susie, and I've had a stroke due to my cigarette smoking. I now need help with feeding, dressing, bathing, even going to the bathroom. Sometimes it's people who work here, sometimes it's my son Daniel. My tip to you is enjoy your independence now.
You can quit. For free help, call 1-800-QUIT-NOW.
ExpressBet brings you a whole new way to play the races. An easier, better way to wager on your favorite tracks. With a more streamlined interface for faster wagering. With more handicapping insights from our world-class experts. With more racetracks, nearly 200 to choose from. And with your personalized multi-view wagering screen, your tracks, your wager pad, and your video are all on one page. It's simply the best way to play the races. Your way. Welcome to ExpressBet. Your way to play.
Progress isn't about where you've been. It's about where you're going. The new Ram 1500. Best in class 25 mpg. North American Truck of the Year. The Truck of Texas. Better residual value than Ford and Chevy. It's the fastest growing truck brand in America. Guts, glory, Ram.
You're watching NBC Sports Network's coverage of the Brooklyn Handicap. Brought to you by Ram. Engineered to move heaven and earth. Guts, glory, Ram. And by Grey Goose, the world's best tasting vodka. Please sip responsibly.
And tonight, the NHL Stanley Cup playoffs continue on the NBC Sports Network with a pivotal Game 4 as the Bruins look to sweep the Penguins. Coverage begins at 7 Eastern right here on the NBC Sports Network. Radio City Music Hall there in downtown, Midtown Manhattan. As the horses are on the track, and there's a look at Reload, trained by Shug McGahee for the Phipps stable, working on a 2-race winning streak, and the favorite here.
Yeah, a tale of 2 muddy races for him. The worst race of his career was in the slop at Saratoga, beaten 30 lengths, and almost the best race of his career was his last out. He won by 5 right here at Belmont in the mud. So which horse is going to show up is the question.
And right behind him, or just to his right now, number 12, Super Speedy.
And Super Speedy is coming off the best race of his career. He actually ran faster in a 10-length victory at Belmont Park in his last start than Reload has ever run in his career. So I was a little surprised that Super Speedy wasn't made the favorite. Look at the silk colors that Jose Lezcano is wearing. It's red and white with a little black. There's a reason for that, and for the name Super Speedy, as in S-O-U-P. His owner, Charlotte Weber, is a Campbell's Soup heiress.
And number 10, Politically Correct.
Politically Correct had his last out on a sloppy track, didn't run all that well, comes from out of it. It practically is the only horse that is a dead closer in here, and the way the races have gone today are split. Half speed, half come from behind.
Larry Colmus with the call.
All right, Tom, and here comes Super Speedy up to the outside stall. We're going to have a field of 5 here in the Jiper, switched over to the main track at Belmont Park. Super Speedy goes in, all in line and ready for a start. They're off in the Jiper, and Big Screen had a very good start from the inside. And right alongside his Next Question, and these two will go out to the front with Big Screen opening up, and Next Question now taken well off the pace. And moving up is Reload. Politically Correct is on the inside, and Super Speedy races outside of horses, and Big Screen leads the way as they head toward the far turn. Big Screen by a length. Reload up running in second position, and then Next Question to the outside in third. Super Speedy follows in fourth, and on the rail it's Politically Correct. And that opening quarter mile as they move into the far turn goes in 22 4/5 seconds for Big Screen. Reload is 3/4 of a length behind, running in second. Super Speedy third to the outside. Next Question, and Politically Correct rides the rail here and is 5 lengths off of Big Screen, who has led every step of the way so far through a 45 flat half mile. Big Screen turning for home in front. Big Screen comes off the turn 2.5 lengths in front of Super Speedy, who's trying to close in. Politically Correct is third. Down to the 8th pole. Big Screen digs in, and Super Speedy is closing on the outside. Big Screen, Super Speedy, Politically Correct third. Big Screen drifting out to the middle of the racetrack. Super Speedy tries to get by. At the finish, Big Screen holds on. He really drifted out through the stretch. Super Speedy was second, and Politically Correct ends up third.
So it was Big Screen in the Dogwood Stable colors, ridden by Irad Ortiz Jr., going to the front and just holding on to get the victory in the Jiper.
Notice Larry Coleman was saying drifting out. Big Screen did drift out probably 10 to 12 feet through the stretch. Now, he never bumped Super Speedy, but he probably wasn't clear. He did impede himself, his outside rival Super Speedy to some degree. It'll be interesting to see if the stewards put the flag up.
And it'll be interesting to see if there's any kind of a foul claim, because both horses are trained by Tommy Albertrani. You see, there was some contact there between the two Albertrani trained horses.
Yeah, there was. Actually, I was incorrect. It looked like from the side that it was just a drift out with no contact, but I would guess they'll put the flag on this.
Yeah, just as we looked at that head-on view, you can see that a few feet before the wire, it was a Big Screen drifting out into Super Speedy. Still no word yet on whether there will be an inquiry in the running of the Jiper.
It's easy to say this now after the race is over, but Big Screen had the best mud pedigree of any horse in the field, and ran to it with an uncontested early lead, which helped as well in these sorts of conditions.
You mentioned Tommy Albertrani trains both horses, but they're different owners, and yes, the inquiry sign is up.
So there is, the inquiry sign is up, and so the stewards will take a look at the videotape of the race and determine whether or not there should be a disqualification. There's a look in the stewards room as they take a look at all the different angles of the race to decide if the result will stand or will there be a disqualification. And there he is, Big Screen drifting out. Ortiz is hitting him right-handed, trying to keep him from drifting out so much, but there is contact between he and Super Speedy, and that's what the stewards will be looking at.
Yeah, my guess is that they'll probably take this number down because the margin of victory was pretty slim, as you see, barely ahead.
So we'll have the official results when we return to Belmont Park. An inquiry into the running of the Jiper. Will Big Screen hold, or will Super Speedy be moved up on disqualification? We'll be back to Belmont Park in just a moment.
At Scottrade, our clients are always learning more to make their money do more.
To help me plan my next move, I take Scottrade's free in-branch seminars, plus their live webinars. I use daily market commentary to improve my strategy. And my local Scottrade office guides my learning every step of the way because they know I don't trade like everybody. I trade like me. I'm with Scottrade.
Scottrade, ranked highest in customer loyalty for brokerage and investment companies.
Get the inside track on the Belmont Stakes with NBC Sports Live Extra to watch live online. Plus, check out NBC Sports on Facebook and at NBCSN on Twitter for race day updates. Go to NBCSports.com/live extra and watch anywhere, anytime.
Records were broken. 68 lead changes, 14 leaders, fastest 500 in history. The IndyCar Series is hot as it heads to the Milwaukee Indy Fest, June 15th at 4 on the NBC Sports.
How much longer do I have to grate these carrots?
Let me see. You know you should grate them a little smaller.
No, they'll be fine. Come on.
Okay.
Spices. Coriander?
Yep. And don't forget the chilies. Lots of them.
Really? I think this is enough chili.
At Optimum, we know a reliable connection means more than good service. It means staying in touch with the ones you love.
Who's that boy?
What? Nobody?
No, I saw someone right there.
350, right? 350 on the other?
No wonder more people choose Optimum Online than any other internet provider.
I should probably...
Bug bites, itchy rash.
Stop your scratching. Stop your scratching.
Relief starts now. Gold Bond Rapid Relief. 2 itch-fighting medicines instantly relieve bug bites and all kinds of summer itches, so you can get back to fun. Gold Bond. Relief starts now.
Baby powder.
Hand lotion. Nothing stopped the rash from my bladder leakage. Until now.
New Balmex Adult Care has ActiveGuard with ingredients to soothe, protect, and relieve irritation.
The search is over. It works great.
New Balmex Adult Care. Finally adult rash relief.
If you perspire a lot, there's a good chance you have what's called hyperhidrosis. You want Certain Dry, the #1 doctor-recommended antiperspirant. Its special formula stops excessive perspiration for 72 hours. Certain Dry, #1 doctor-recommended.
I'm Shaq. I wake up cool, but this keeps it going.
New Gold Bond No Mess Powder Spray. Now get all the cooling, drying power of Gold Bond powder in a refreshing no mess spray. New Gold Bond Powder Spray.
Stay cool with Gold Bond.
Okay. And welcome back to Belmont Park, where the result of the Jiper Stakes is under review by the stewards. That's a look inside the stewards' room as they check the videotape to see whether a foul occurred between the 1-2 finishers, Big Screen and Super Speedy.
Big Screen in the yellow and green silks with his jockey Ayad Ortiz hitting right-handed, but he's still drifting. And drifting to the extent that he even impedes it, he makes contact with Super Speedy. I think it comes down.
On one hand, people look at it and you say, okay, it's a no-brainer. On the other hand, what the stewards are trying to decide is if that interference resulted in a change. And Jerry
there has been a change, and it has been a change indeed. Big Screen has been disqualified, and now Super Speedy has been moved up to win. It's his 3rd win in 7 starts, his first stakes victory, and he is a perfect 2 for 2 on wet tracks. So even though he crossed the line ahead behind Big Screen because of that hurting and that contact in the stretch run, Big Screen has been disqualified and placed 2nd. Well, Belmont horses were out stretching their legs this week. The sun was still out then. That's before the rains hit. Belmont Park is the home base for Orb, so he's very comfortable here. Oxbow was out getting a tour of the track, hoping to duplicate his Preakness score. The filly Unlimited Budget trains here with Todd Pletcher, but has never raced at Belmont Park. Golden Soul, the Derby 2nd in the slop, makes his first appearance at Belmont. And Freedom Child had his most memorable race here, splashing home by 13 in the slop in the Peter Pan Stakes. So the wagering began today for the Belmont Stakes, and here's a look at how they stack up with co-favorites at the moment. Orb and Revolutionary each at 5-2. Freedom Child at 8-1. Palace Malice is 10-1 over Analyze and Unlimited Budget at 11. The Preakness winner Oxbow is 16, and all the way down to Midnight Taboo, who is 37-1. We should point out not a whole lot of money has been bet yet, and so those odds can change pretty drastically. So let's talk about the Belmont Stakes tomorrow and talk about Orb. All the 3 weeks since the Preakness, people have asked me what happened to Orb because he was so impressive what won the Derby. You have any answers to that question? What happened to Orb?
I wish we had some definitive answers. Only Orb knows for sure. He ain't talking. You know, he wasn't sick. He wasn't injured. You can't really blame the pace for a 9-length defeat. He did have an inside post position, and he had never raced inside of horses for any substantial amount of time, and he couldn't get out on the first turn because the pace was so slow, the horses were bunched. Joel Rosario wanted to get into the outside and couldn't. On the backstretch, he let him run a little bit because he wanted to get Orb up and around Oxbow and Golden Sense up in front, but the horses to his outside kept pace with him and didn't allow Rosario to be able to do that. He was perhaps on the worst part of the racetrack, but he was in about the same path as Oxbow. Here, he could have perhaps gone up through that hole. There was room, but as the old saying goes, the hole was moving faster than the horse. Orb was on empty at that point around the turn. A mild rally to get fourth through the lane, but Orb still was not gaining any ground at all. In fact, lost the lane through the drive on Oxbow. It could have been the racetrack surface, which was deeper than he was accustomed to, but I hate that excuse.
And Jerry, Gary Stevens got a lot of credit for the win in the Preakness by taking Oxbow to the front and slowing the pace down. How did you see the race?
As he should have gotten credit. What cooked him in the Kentucky Derby, being close to a hot pace, it was totally opposite in the Preakness. He got away with murder, did Gary Stevens, taking the lead early in this race. The difference was so stark, he went 4 lengths slower than he did in the Kentucky Derby here the first quarter of a mile. He went 12 lengths slower after the first half, and he got away with an astounding 14 lengths slower in the Preakness that he had to go in the Kentucky Derby. That's the reason why he won the Preakness. The difference, it wasn't petty larceny. Gary Stevens committed grand larceny stealing this race.
Well, you know, 77-year-old Wayne Lucas trained Oxbow, and he has a habit of pulling upsets in big races, and Oxbow was 15-1, but look at this list of memorable upsets. 55-1 on Spain to win the Breeders' Cup Ladies Classic in 2000. And the man they call the coach spoke earlier with Kenny Rice.
Thanks, Tom. I'm with Wayne Lucas. Oxbow trying to follow up on the Preakness victory, winning the Belmont tomorrow. How's he changed in these 3 weeks coming into this race, Wayne?
Kenny, I think he was always physically fit. I think I wasn't concerned about that with the, Derby and the Preakness under his belt. But mentally, I think we got a little better horse. So his thing is relaxation. So mentally, I think we're going to send a little better horse over there.
The rain is supposed to stop by in the morning. Is this going to have a big effect on Oxbow and on this race tomorrow?
It'll affect the race for some horses. Obviously, the track could be drying out. It might be fast if we get some sunshine. I don't think it'll bother Oxbow at all. I don't think he carries the track with him. He could care less about the surface.
You have won 14. Will 15 be tomorrow on the Triple Crown scene?
I don't know if tomorrow, but I'd like to get 15. It's a nice sound to it, nice ring.
All right. Good luck to you. Thank you, Wayne. Now let's go to Lafitte Pinkai.
Gary Stevens, tomorrow he'll be trying to win his 4th Belmont Stakes with Oxbow. Gary, prior to your victory with Oxbow in the Preakness, you had won 8 Triple Crown races. Coming out of retirement, what made that one a little different?
Coming out of retirement, being 50 years old, it was very special. I didn't expect to be riding in the Triple Crown. I was hoping for it, but to be standing up on that podium, man, it was sweet.
Scary stuff last week at Hollywood Park. Involved in a spill, what's going through your mind when you know you're about to hit the turf?
Well, first of all, it was the longest fall of my whole life. As I was flying through the air, I said, man, this is going to hurt. And then Oxbow hit my mind, and actually winning colors back in 1988 because I fell 5 days before she won the Kentucky Derby on that exact same turf course. So I was just praying when I hit the ground, did a real quick physical check, a mental check. And mentally I was working, physically I was working, but a scary moment.
Perhaps a spill with a good omen. Good luck to tomorrow, Gary.
Thanks.
Let's go to Bob Newmeyer.
All right, with Shug McGahee. Shug, what did you have to see this week from Orb to put him in the Belmont Stakes?
I just wanted good work on Sunday, which we got, and then I just wanted to see that he came out of it. He had good
good energy level all week, and you know how he was eating and looked, and I've been pleased with all of it.
People have analyzed the Preakness backwards and forwards. Some say you were hemmed inside. You know, the turtle's pace that Gary Stevens said. What's your best explanation?
Both of those. I think we're down on the inside. Gary rode a great race when they took back off of it. He slowed it down, and that kept us down on the rail, kind of pinched in where we never could really get out and get him make a good run.
Tomorrow, fast, sloppy, or mud? What's your preference?
Fast, just because I want it to be fair for everybody. You know, a good, safe race, and see what we got.
Shug McGahee wants a fast track from tomorrow's Belmont Stakes, Tom Hammond.
Well, hopefully he'll get it, although we're expecting up to 4 inches of rain, and whether the track can dry out that much during the course of tomorrow remains to be seen. Let's put a period now on the Jaipur Stakes. After the disqualification, the results are official. Super Speedy moved up to the win. Pace 5-10. Big Screen DQ'd from first to second. Politically Correct was third. $2 exacta 12.5 paid $22.40. So in the Belmont Stakes tomorrow, it'll be the showdown.
Playing football can be really tough on your skin. To avoid unnecessary roughness, we use Palmer's Cocoa Butter Formula Body and Face Lotion for Men. It offers hard-hitting protection that locks in moisture and shuts down dryness. Palmer's absorbs quickly, so interceptions don't slip through our hands. And it provides the ultimate defense against rough, dry skin, leaving it smooth with a fresh scent.
New Palmer's Cocoa Butter Formula Body and Face Lotion for Men. Perfect formula.
Extraordinary results.
Klondike's 5 seconds to glory. Jim versus Baby Talk.
I'm your little hamster.
Climb in my pocket, little hamsty wamsty.
What would you do for a Klondike bar?
At Longhorn, we do steak and we do it bold like nowhere else. Tonight, it's new steaks that sizzle for $11.99, like the smoky double bacon or the spicy jalapeno cheddar. At $11.99, these 3 steaks won't wait around. Longhorn Steakhouse, you can't fake steak.
Speightstown's rise reminds me of distorted humor, that rare ability to sire grade 1 quality at all distances and all surfaces with top fillies and colts. After he retired as a champion, Speightstown came to stud as part of a historic crop that included the likes of Tappet and Medaglia d'Oro. Speightstown has outperformed them all, siring as many or more stakes winners in each of the last 3 years and counting. Speightstown, the hottest sire in town.
Test in 3, 2.
I don't like excitement. Take our corporate payment system from U.S. Bank. It's reliable, accurate, easy to manage. With crews all over the country, purchasing and payroll disbursement can't be a big production. And with U.S. Bank, I've learned, no surprises, make for a great show.
Tomorrow at 3 Eastern, the NBC Sports Network brings you pre-race coverage of the 3rd jewel of the Triple Crown, all leading up to the 145th running of the Belmont Stakes tomorrow at 5 Eastern on NBC. And coming up now will be the Brooklyn Handicap, and here are the current odds. Bird Run is at 6-1, Quick Casablanca 5, so is Percussion at 5-1, 7-2 Fast Falcon, and the favorite is Ruler on Ice at 5-2. Let's go to Donna Brothers.
Well, Tom, we've talked about how rare it is to even race at 1.5 miles on the dirt. To give you an idea of just how rare it is, even jockey Joel Rosario, who rides the number 3 Quick Casablanca in here and has ridden almost 700 races this year, has ridden exactly 0 races at 1.5 miles on the dirt. Quick Casablanca has already won at a mile and a half, but that was on turf in Chile. At least if nothing else, the Brooklyn Handicap is going to give all of the jockeys in it a test run at a mile and a half on the dirt. Let's go to Mike.
Well, if you look at the past performances of Fast Falcon, you see that he's won 1 out of 13 races. You might want to throw him out of here. That would be a mistake. I just talked to Nick Zito. He's kind of high on this horse. He said he thought he should have won the Travers last year when he got beat a neck. He got beat a nose last time out by Percussion, a head bobbing finish. And I asked Nick about getting the mile and a half. He said, I think this horse will love the mile and a half distance. And he's one that ought to know because he saddled Birdstone to one of the biggest upsets in Belmont history back in 2004 when he beat Smarty Jones to deny him that Triple Crown, Tom.
All right, Mike, and we'll be back to Belmont Park for the 125th Brooklyn Handicap, presented by Ram Trucks.
It began with my big toe. That was my first amputation that I had.
Berger's disease, it's a vascular disease brought on by smoking.
My fingers started to go piece by piece.
First it was my left leg. After my left leg, it was my right leg. And so now I'm a double amputee, all from smoking.
My tip to everyone is don't believe that this can't happen to you, because it can.
You can quit. For free help, call 1-800-QUIT-NOW.
The Bruins did it again. Behind another spectacular effort by Tuukka Rask and a tough-as-nails defense, Boston is 1 win away from the Stanley Cup final. Tonight, can Crosby and the Penguins stay alive and send the series back to the Steel City? Or will Marchand and the Bruins complete the sweep? Game 4 of the Eastern Conference Final. Tonight, 7 Eastern on the NBC Sports Network. Because it's the Cup.
BBC America brings you Britain's best shows. I am so on board. And groundbreaking American originals. Why? Because we love your accent. Howdy. BBC America. Brilliant telly from both sides of the pond.
Need help? Yeah. Well, my ride's been losing power and gas mileage, and I've been thinking about grabbing...
That's thinking with your motorhead. Gum-Out products are backed by science, real science, so they help improve performance, increase fuel efficiency, and protect key engine parts. It's not clean until it's Gum-Out clean. Bring it in.
Think with your motorhead. Choose Gum-Out. Available at your local retailer today.
Hi, this is Grace Rogers. This is Grace Rogers. This is Grace Rogers. And I'd like to update our new mailing address. Please hold. Yes, I'd like to update my new mailing address.
Thank you for holding, ma'am. Your address, please.
It's 1616 Forest. Yeah, Forest Avenue. Hi, this is Grace Rogers. I'd like to update my new mailing address.
What?
Moving is hard. Moving your Optimum service is easy. You can even keep your email and phone number. Go to optimum.com/moversoffer.
The call to the post for the Brooklyn Handicap at a mile and a half, and here are the current odds with Ruler on Ice still the favorite. Ruler on Ice at 3-1. Time now for our Ram Trucks Post Parade. And number 1 is Bird Run, the 2011 Brooklyn winner, who stumbled at the break, was 9th in the Brooklyn last year, leading to an 11-month vacation. He was 3rd in his only race since. Number 2, Keep Me Informed, the first time past a mile and an eighth for this 6-year-old who was claimed for $35,000. Jockey Marat won this race on Bird Run 2 years ago. Number 3 is Quick Casablanca, a major winner in his native Chile, now making his 2nd U.S. start. His first was a 3rd in the Good Reward Stakes on turf 3 weeks ago. Number 4, Kaleidoscopio, another South American import, a 10-year-old from Argentina. It's his 3rd U.S. start. He made his debut last year with a victory in the Breeders' Cup Marathon at a mile and 3/4. Number 5, Percussion. His only loss in 4 starts since joining Todd Pletcher's barn was a 4th to Game On Dude in the Charlestown Classic. Number 6 is Fast Falcon, trained by Brooklyn native Nick Zito, beaten the nose by Percussion in his last race, the Albert the Great Stakes. He has been runner-up in 3 of his last 4 starts. Number 7 is Flashy Sunrise, West Point Thoroughbreds and Dallas Stewart, both in the Belmont tomorrow. West Point owns Freedom Child and Stewart trains Golden Soul. This gelding has never won a stakes race. And number 8 is the favorite, Ruler on Ice, the 2011 Belmont Stakes winner in the slop. He has just 1 victory in 13 starts since that triumph in the Belmont, but does sport a gaudy bankroll of nearly $1.7 million. And that's your field for the Brooklyn Handicap. And let's see who our experts like. Let's go to our handicappers, Bob and Mike.
Well, it's rare 1.5 miles on the dirt, no doubt about that. We got a new variable, and that's a very sloppy racetrack here, Mike.
Well, you know what, though? When I look at a 1.5 mile race, I want to find a horse that's been a 1.5 miles. There's only a few of them in here. Quick Casablanca is one of those horses. I think this horse has got a big shot. He's run well on the dirt. He's run well on the turf. 12 career starts. It's never been worse than third. Joel Rosario aboard. That last race that he ran on the turf, I thought was a big race here behind Teeks North. That horse is a multiple Grade 1 winner. I think this horse fits. I think Quick Casablanca is going to be very tough. 1.5 miles, I love it.
We're disagreeing here. We're disagreeing here.
You like the speed.
I do like the speed. The longer the race goes, the more I want to be on the lead. Todd Pletcher told me that Percussion would be on the lead, and I love horses on the lead at 1.5 miles. Johnny Velasquez is going to play Catch Me If You Can, so I'm going to vote here for Percussion to take this field wire to wire at 1.5 miles.
And I'm going to catch him if I can, Tom.
Okay. So 1 on the lead, 1 coming from off the pace, and Percussion, of course, comes off that victory in the Albert the Great Stakes, a great battle he had that day to win it.
And that was the biggest difference since Todd Pletcher's taken him over. He had the jockeys put him up close to the lead. In this race, he jumps out early and then is involved in a torrid duel through the stretch.
With Fast Falcon. That's Fast Falcon on the outside, Percussion on the inside. You watch this race and you think it's going to be the outside horse that wins by a half a head, but actually Percussion ekes out the narrowest of photo finishes. He's won 3 of his last 4, all in photo finishes. So if it comes down to inches, this is a pretty courageous horse. The only issue with Percussion is that while he likes to make the early lead, Jerry and I both saw this on the replays, he can be too aggressive early on the lead, and settling him down at 1.5 miles could be an issue.
That's the downside to him, but of the last 5 Brooklyns that have been, since it's been switched to 1.5 miles, every horse that's been on the lead has either won or been beaten by only a nose. So speed has been good in the Brooklyn.
Okay. And there's Todd Pletcher, who sends out Percussion here in the Brooklyn Handicap. And Kaleidoscopio, 10-year-old. You don't often see 10-year-olds competing at this level, but he's a bit of a character coming from South America, where they train horses a lot without saddles, and that's the way he trained when he first came to the U.S. His first U.S. start, he won the Breeders' Cup Marathon. We'll watch him at the gate load because they put a big hood over his face to get him into the gate.
Dave, you don't see many horses still running at age 10, and you don't see many horses that look like that as 10-year-olds. Mike Pipey, the trainer, showed him to us in the stall the other morning. He looked like a 3-year-old, and he certainly looked pretty good here at 1 3/4 miles in the Breeders' Cup Marathon last fall at Santa Anita.
Yeah, you know, speaking about the hood putting on his head, that's for a horse to confuse the horse, almost blind him so he doesn't really know. He's kind of trick him to get him into the gate. But you'd think at 10 with this many races, he'd know what the heck is going on, hood or no hood.
And there is a look at Kaleidoscopio. And, of course, the favorite now at 7-2 is Ruler on Ice.
He's hit on some tough times since he won the Belmont Stakes. I mean, he did go on that same year to some success, 3rd in the Haskell, 3rd in the Breeders' Cup Classic, but lately it's as if he's kind of questioning whether he wants to be a racehorse anymore. He doesn't want to train some mornings. A couple of races back, he didn't want to walk into the paddock. Then he didn't want to go into the starting gate. He's been a bit of a misbehaving brat lately, but you know the ability's there and he likes the money.
I think the reason that he's being bet down is 2 of his 3 lifetime wins have been on a track just like this, and even in his last race at Monmouth in the slop, he was a pretty good second. So I think it's the condition of the track more than anything else for this horse.
Back to 3-1 on Ruler on Ice as we go to Kenny Rice, who is with percussionist trainer Todd Pletcher.
All right, thanks, Tom. Percussion likes to go out to the front. Does he go out to the front today on a 1.5 mile race, Todd?
That's our plan. Unless somebody, does something that we wouldn't expect, we'll kind of let him run away from the gate and hopefully settle into a nice rhythm and see how far he can go.
And tomorrow you have 5 going out here in the Belmont. That sets a record. How's all 5 looking at this stage?
Well, they're all training very well. You know, I think the biggest question right now is what kind of track conditions we're going to have tomorrow. Hopefully the rain's going to end sometime early tomorrow morning. We'll get some sun and wind and dry the track out a bit. Right now, that's a bit of a question mark.
All right, good luck today and tomorrow. Busy weekend as usual for Todd Pletcher, Tom.
All right, Kenny, and that's a look at percussion, who he has here in the Brooklyn. So who gets the money? Jose Lescano, Fast Falcon, try to turn the tables on percussion after losing by a nose in their last. But maybe John Velasquez and percussion prevail again. But watch out for hot rider Joel Rosario on the South American import Quick Casablanca.
If this much care goes into the chalice, imagine what goes into the beer.
ExpressBet brings you a whole new way to play the races. An easier, better way to wager on your favorite tracks. With a more streamlined interface for faster wagering. With more handicapping insights from our world-class experts. With more racetracks, nearly 200 to choose from. And with your personalized multi-view wagering screen, your tracks, your wager pad, and your video are all on one page. It's simply the best way to play the races. Your way. Welcome to ExpressBet. Your way to play.
iRobot.
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 iRobot. iRobot.
iRobot. Do you?
The distances aren't getting shorter. The trucks are going farther. The 2013 Ram 1500 with best-in-class fuel economy, engineered to move heaven and earth. Guts, glory, Ram. The new Ram 1500, Motor Trend's 2013 Truck of the Year.
Derby winner Orb.
And it's Oxbow and Gary Stevens to win the Preakness.
Preakness winner Oxbow. The champions of the first two acts of the Triple Crown face off again in New York. A mile and a half left to decide a best of three in the final chapter. Coverage begins tomorrow at 3 on the NBC Sports Network, leading up to the Belmont Stakes at 5 on NBC.
Tomorrow morning, NBC brings you the French Open women's singles final as Maria Sharapova looks to defend her title against Serena Williams. A showdown on the famed clay courts of Roland Garros tomorrow, 9 a.m. Eastern on NBC. As we check the Brooklyn Handicap odds, and we currently have co-favorites Fast Falcon and Ruler on Ice, now co-favored at 7-2. And out on that track on horseback is Donna Brothers, and Donna, looks like the rain has let up a bit.
Yeah, that's great news for me, Tom. I don't know about you, but yeah, it's still sprinkling out here a little bit, but it's definitely let up. And really, the conditions, we did not expect for them to be this good. I mean, I talked about the track earlier. It's a sealed track, which means they've packed it down, so it's definitely had a lot of rain in it, but it seems to have handled it really well. It's been very fair all day long from the inside to the outside, and I expect a fairly run race. I will say that both the 5 Percussion and the 6 Fast Falcon, the jockeys, took those horses away from the ponies, got a pretty good warm-up in them early, so just like we would think on paper, Tom, I expect, given the warm-up, they're going to show some speed away from the gate.
All right, and there is also a look at Kaleidoscopio, the 10-year-old that we've been talking about so much.
Yeah. The old man who lives in Southern California, the reason he's here all the way across coast is because, as we've alluded to, there just aren't many mile-and-a-half races to choose from in America. They want to get him back to the Breeders' Cup Marathon. They almost took him back to Argentina to train for the Breeders' Cup, but it actually cost more money to fly him to Argentina than it did to leave him here and train in the United States.
He's at 8-1 at the moment, and Fast Falcon is 7-2, now co-favored with Percussion.
I think one of the biggest reasons for appeal for this horse is the company he's been keeping. Besides being beaten in Percussion, which we just saw earlier in his last race, the 4 previous races he's run against Cross Traffic, who almost won the Met Mile, Gradar, who's arguably has the best older horse race of this year, Cigar Street, who's a top stake horse, and Shackelford, who won the Preakness a couple years ago. So he's been keeping tall company now.
Smile, Nick.
His only race on the sloppy track at Saratoga last year was pretty ordinary. So I think for him, again, like many of them, it's will he handle the surface?
And Percussion now co-favored with Fast Falcon at 7-2. Those are the 2 horses, of course, that came out of that nose finish in the Albert the Great Stakes here at Belmont.
Not a lot of real early speed. Bird Run will show speed from the inside. He always does, and he ran along with Percussion in the first part of that Albert the Great Stakes last time out. You know, how long can Bird Run keep him company? It's just, will Johnny Velazquez be able to settle Percussion down enough to ration his speed to 1.5 miles, because the conditions certainly favor him, and as Jerry pointed out, this race is played towards speed recently.
Look at those goggles. There are those goggles, Jerry, you're talking about. And there's Quick Casablanca and Joel Rosario.
Yeah, Chris Clement had toyed with the idea, as trainer Chris Clement had toyed with the idea of running him tomorrow in the Manhattan, but he lands here because he feels that even though he hasn't proven on his form that he can handle the mud, they train in it so often back in Argentina and Chile that he should have no problem with it.
We'll have the Manhattan tomorrow on the undercard of the Belmont Stakes, so you can just scratch him right now from the Manhattan tomorrow. And there's the blindfold right there for Kaleidoscopio, the hood.
And it's still working.
He's into the gate. And for the call of the Brooklyn Handicap, we'll go atop the grandstand here at Belmont Park now and join Larry Colmus.
All right, Tom. Well, almost all of them are in line. Ruler on Ice getting a little bit of help here from the assistant starters. Sometimes it's a little bit tough to load, but he's in there now. And we're all in line and ready for this Brooklyn Handicap at 1.5 miles. They're off in the Brooklyn, and Quick Casablanca and Percussion had good starts, and Ruler on Ice is right there with Bird Run to the inside, and then comes Flashy Sunrise. Fast Falcon goes up in between horses, then a gap of another 2 lengths back to Keep Me Informed, and then the late running 10-year-old Kaleidoscopio at the back of the field as Percussion leads the way into the first turn. Percussion on top by 1.5 lengths. Ruler on Ice kept 3 wide. On the far outside, in between horses is Quick Casablanca, and then Bird Run along the inside. 24 seconds flat for the opening quarter. That's a pretty solid pace for this 1.5 mile distance. Flashy Sunrise is in 5th right now and racing 4 lengths off the lead. A ground-saving run for Keep Me Informed, who's clear of Fast Falcon, and it's a good 10 lengths back to Aaron Grider and Kaleidoscopio, biding their time at the back of the field of 48 2/2 mile. Percussion going up the backstretch in front by 2.5 lengths. A Belmont Stakes winner, Ruler on Ice, is running in 2nd position, and then comes Quick Casablanca in 3rd, just to the inside. Then Bird Run, Keep Me Informed, Flashy Sunrise, they're all across the track, and Fast Falcon's getting closer now. Fast Falcon gaining some ground, 6.5 lengths off the lead, and Kaleidoscopio's even farther behind than he was before. He's way out of the race right now. They've gone 3/4 mile in 1:12 and 4, and now they enter the far turn where the beat goes on for Percussion, who's led every step of the way so far. Ruler on Ice is running in 2nd position. Keep Me Informed is down on the inside and now grabs 2nd from Ruler on Ice, who's under a ride. Fast Falcon continues steady progress on the far outside, now 3.5 lengths off the lead. Flashy Sunrise and Bird Run are after that. And way back there, Kaleidoscopio is picking up his stride like he did back in the Breeders' Cup Marathon. He is gaining ground. He's within 12 lengths of the lead. And Percussion has been there every step of the way in the Brooklyn Handicap, and they're into the stretch, and Percussion turns for home with a 2-length lead. Fast Falcon is running in 2nd, and way on the far outside, here comes Kaleidoscopio, and he's gaining ground with each and every stride. He was so far behind, he's not there yet. Percussion's in front, but Kaleidoscopio continues to gain. Percussion, here comes Kaleidoscopio, and he did it from the clouds under Aaron Grider. Kaleidoscopio was 30 lengths back, and he won the Brooklyn just in time. Percussion was second. Fast Falcon was third. How about that whole band, Kaleidoscopio?
Wow, he wasn't even in the picture for much of the race. He was so far behind, and here he came down in the middle of the track, a 10-year-old, only the second 10-year-old to win a graded stakes race in North America. That's the highest class of races we have. Only the second in history to win a graded stakes race. The other was Musketeer last year in Canada.
That was amazing.
You know, you really have to appreciate the team here of Aaron Grider and this horse Kaleidoscopio, because it is so hard, Tom and Randy, for a jockey to allow a horse to drop that far back. Now, I know he knows him, but it's still very hard. He was in a different area code than these other horses. The dirt probably wasn't even hitting him. He was that far back.
And on a sloppy racetrack, we're talking about how much the speed is going to be favored by the conditions. And here's this horse. Unbelievable.
That is an unbelievable amount of confidence that Aaron Grider has in this horse, to know that he can be that far out of it and still have a chance to win. You got to tip your hat to a really, really good ride by Aaron.
And a good horse at 10 years old. Wow.
He went off at 7-1. And he came storming down the slop in the stretch to win the Brooklyn. Let's go to Donna.
Aaron, Jarrett Bailey was just talking about the tremendous amount of confidence you must have in this horse, because you essentially just let him disconnect from the rest of the field. How confident are you that he's actually going to come with that run, though?
Well, good horses give you confidence, you know, and he's already displayed that in his past races. And what he had done in the Breeders' Cup, he just showed he's got great acceleration. You know, he's steady, but he keeps coming at him. And, you know, his last race wasn't his true self. Today he came into this one a lot better. So
the last race was his first race off that Breeders' Cup win. Did you feel like he just needed that race, Aaron?
He needed it, and he didn't come into it 100%. He felt good, but he had a couple issues that probably kept him from being his best that day. And today he came into it right. They did a great job with him.
This horse, we talked about him in the fall when you won on him in the Breeders' Cup. He's been a little bit quirky. You've had a lot more time to get to know him since then. Is he still a quirky horse? Is he settled in here in the United States?
Well, he's settled in, but he's 10 years old, and you know he's taught me to just get along with him. And the girl that gets on him, Lotta, every morning's done an amazing job with him. So he's pretty happy right now.
So, Tom, while normally the horses are following the jockey's instructions, it sounds like Aaron follows Kaleidoscopio's instructions.
Well, he knew what he was doing, both jockey and horse in this case. And let's take a look at how far back he was as we look at our Ram Trucks race replay.
Now, as we go down the backside, you can see I guess he's probably 18 to 20 lengths behind the last horse. Now, as I mentioned, it's hard as a jockey to not close the gap a little bit. It's even harder, and Aaron, I'm sure Aaron knows, not to even kind of push on their neck to find out if there's anything there, because if the answer is no, you've got a heck of a long trip in front of you.
I was a little reminiscent of Mind That Bird in the mud in the Kentucky Derby several years ago. Look at that move to the outside.
Now that he's got him running, he certainly doesn't want to take the chance on getting him stopped, so Aaron just angles him out around one horse. Still saves a lot of the ground. Now he actually goes out about 6 wide, so he's not losing a tremendous amount of ground just for that 40 or 50 yards that he angled him out. And it's just a matter of, can he run down Percussion on the lead? And to Randy's point, Percussion pulled the entire way. He was fighting Johnny to some degree the entire trip, and it's hard for a horse to last on the lead this far doing that.
We heard Aaron Grider talk about before his last race, there were a couple of issues. He may be 10 years old, but he loves to play. And coming off the track, before his last start, he was playing so much that he actually stepped on one of his front feet and cut it open. They decided to run him anyway. They almost scratched him, decided to run him anyway, but he did have an excuse.
So we saw that amazing victory on our Ram Trucks race replay. As we have the payoffs, Kaleidoscopio pays $17. Percussion second, Fast Falcon third. A 4-5 exacta brought you $70. The dollar trifecta worth $122. And here he is at age 10. The previous oldest Brooklyn winner was Barrow. He was 9 years old when he won it in 1917. Kaleidoscopio in 2013. The 10-year-old wins, and the celebration begins.
Imagine if Jason Duffner played his game like T1 from the phone company, moving up to 66 times slower than Comcast Business. Par 4s would become par 400s. It would be the longest round of golf ever.
Fortunately, Jason is more like Comcast Business, moving at speeds up to 100 megabits per second.
Switch to Comcast Business today. Call 800-501-6000. Don't wait.
If this much care goes into the chalice, imagine what goes into the beer.
Klondike's 5 seconds to glory. Paul versus the dreaded death circle.
What would you do for a Klondike bar?
At Longhorn, we do steak and we do it bold like nowhere else. Tonight, it's new steaks that sizzle for $11.99, like the smoky double bacon or the spicy jalapeno cheddar. At $11.99, these 3 steaks won't wait around. Longhorn Steakhouse, you can't fake steak.
At Scottrade, our clients trade and invest exactly how they want.
With Scottrade's online banking, I get one view of my bank and brokerage accounts with one login to easily move my money when I need to. Plus, when I call my local Scottrade office, I can talk to someone who knows how I trade. Because I don't trade like everybody. I trade like me. I'm with Scottrade.
Scottrade, awarded 5 stars from Smart Money Magazine.
You're watching NBC Sports Network's coverage of the Brooklyn Handicap. Brought to you by Ram, engineered to move heaven and earth. Guts, glory, Ram. And by ExpressBet.com, the legal and secure way to bet the races online.
Kaleidoscopio out of the clouds wins the Brooklyn Handicap by a length over Percussion as you see the complete order of finish. Let's go down to Kenny Rice.
All right, thanks, Tom. I'm with winning trainer Mike Pipey. He was, as Tom Hammond just said, out of the clouds. Now he runs from behind, but this far back, Mike?
It wasn't the plan prior to be that far back, but I did discuss with Aaron, you know, just because of different situations in his training and everything, that we'd lost a little time from that foot after the last race, and I felt that his best chance would be to run late and late only. Maybe not that late, but that's I can't even guess when the last time a graded stake was won at Belmont by that far behind. He was out of the picture. It was an unbelievable race.
Congratulations again. He just keeps getting better with age, Tom.
All right, a great training job by Mike, and wow, that was some exciting race to see him finish and get the money in the Brooklyn. Now let's think about the Belmont Stakes tomorrow. Any final thoughts on that before we go away?
Well, Orb's won the slop, he's won on the fast track, but he's never even run on anything in between. So I guess the racetrack, as I watch it tomorrow, will be my major concern.
I think we both think Orb is the horse to beat. It comes down to whether his excuse for losing the Preakness Stakes by 9 lengths was the surface or whether it was the fact that the horse just didn't have it after tough efforts in the Kentucky Derby and the Florida Derby.
All right, let's take a look at the current odds for the Belmont Stakes with Orb and Revolutionary at 5-2, Freedom Child at 8-1, Palace Malice overanalyze, and everybody else is double digits. And coming up next, it's the crossover with Michelle Beadle. And don't forget, we'll be back here tomorrow for the third jewel of the Triple Crown. Our coverage of the 145th Belmont Stakes begins at 3 Eastern on the NBC Sports Network and continues at 5 Eastern on NBC. So for our entire team, this is Tom Hammond saying so long from Belmont Park. We'll see you tomorrow for the Belmont Stakes.